Hey. Jazz hands. Peter has immediately frozen. Oh no, you're back.
I'm back.
He's just miming.
Good.
Hello, can audience hear our melodious tones?
Do we have words? Can we
Hello,
speak?
audience. Tell us in the chat if you can hear us say things
We are very good at audio.
so that we know that the thing isn't working.
Sorry.
I see someone has said youth, but I don't know if that's in response to me or not.
You. I hear yes. Good.
I hear yes.
We
Yes,
hear the thing.
excellent.
Good.
In that a case, the time has come for me to say all those words what I do the saying of. Which is to say, hello, internet friends and webcomic fans. It's your friendly neighborhood dungeon biologist again. I'm bringing you another steamy heaping helping of Trash Heroes, the Dungeons and Dragons stream where we recount the epic adventures of a wildly improbable collection of horrible creatures that we know as the Trash Heroes. As always, our players are this wonderful array of talented internet cartoonists and artists that make all of that their internet art and cartoons. I think that seems pretty logical, honestly. Please do check out all of their various social medias and links to their work, which you can see in the upper right-hand side. Do go to sign up to various people's Patrons and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, support your local artist. There's also, of course, a Patreon for the stream itself in the link below. Please do support us YouTube as well. You will find that if you're watching this later on. So without further ado, let me introduce the characters. First up, we have the Keeper of the Vermin, Protector of the Trash Heap, Fetid Quaggle.
Hi.
And then next up is the larger-than-life pit-fighting superstar, Ugna Sugar Tusks.
It's bone crushing time.
Absent this week is our where are we there? Trickster Cleric, Rogue Baker, and Party Animal, Tromlin Darioles. But there is, of course, with us the wild magic streaming sensation, Morgan the Satyr.
It's still bone crushing time.
Different
I mean,
kind of
fair.
bone, maybe?
Different
Kind of crushing, maybe?
Depends on your
And
flavor.
finally, our sweet old grandpa, who's also accidentally an ancient warlock, Copernicus Sunshine.
It's bone animating time.
Some grandpa's
I should have
taking a
said it's
blue
bone
pill.
eating time, but that would
Correct.
also be.
Yeah, it's
That's
honestly
Morgan's
all of
thing.
these bone
Mm.
animating, bone cry. Yeah, I can't not hear it now.
Oh, does Viagra fall under alchemy or necromancy?
I think it depends on the nature of the flesh it's animating, and I think in
Yeah.
Bernie's case.
Yep. It's just two different formulae, right? Like you can do both schools as an alchemist. You can do either one when you're making
If you
potions.
gave a blood golem Viagra, would it die or become more powerful?
It would just relocalize. It would just
Yeah.
change. It would all rush to a
It
specific
would be
shape.
turgid.
Mm.
Oh no! So when we last left our
We're off to a
heroes,
great start.
hmm
yeah, we're just right in there.
Yep,
That's
that's
what she
what-
said.
They said.
That's what the necromancer said.
That's what was said.
That's what was
That's
said.
definitely a thing that
Slump
was said.
shoulders. So last game we started off questioning two Weaselkin Raven cultists in the sewers. Fetid had captured them in a web spell, while Morgan, Ugna, Tromlin, and Copernicus interrogated the crap out of them. Copernicus read their thoughts and removed their magical restraints because their holy symbols they were wearing were preventing them from answering questions. And the two at that point quickly caved with the extreme levels of intimidation. I believe Tromlin soaked them in oil and was threatening to light them on fire.
Dark
Holy
Trumlin.
Reservoir Dog style. Great.
Yep.
So they told the party how their fellow cult members had been using the Quaggle tunnel network to run messages for the Raven cult to members of the Thieves Guild, and also to smuggle stuff into the city. They talked about the Ravenfolk sorcerer Graculus, who is performing a magic ritual on the city and with his various agents
Tonight.
in town. He, in fact, meets them in a nearby dell. And there was, you also learned that there was an imminent raid tonight of some kind, sometime after midnight, by the ice barbarians. So Fed had tied up these two weaselkin and then left the party to go and warn the other quaggles about these infiltrators in their ranks. While the rest of the team took the weasel prisoners to the Loxodron ship for safekeeping. And then Ugna and Morgan went to start getting fitted up for the party tonight, while Tromlin went with Tromlin went with Perny to talk to the local pit fighters and placate them. And he got to have a long conversation with the pit boss, Jemmy Hearth, also known as the Mouth of the North. Nice deep dive there for Randy. And talked about setting up some additional matches and smoothing things over with Basilisk. And then with the party decked out in extreme finery that was very fetish-oriented, thanks to the Lady Direlust, we jumped into the soiree.
This is just what fancy people wear, right?
I'm still hearing a lot of buzzing from Jeff here. It must not have been the fan. I don't know what it is.
It's almost like a beeping, like a radar. Like it goes like boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop.
Is it hearing us?
Maybe it's
I don't
something outside.
No, because it's not happening when we're talking.
Hmm.
Might just need to mute yourself occasionally. As Jeff goes to see if there's like some massive construction happening.
Some kind of
Jeff
radar.
apparently has a very sensitive microphone.
I'm continuing to try and narrow this down.
I don't hear it anymore. Maybe it was just
Well, we would have
like
Might have
some
been something
a
outside
weird
that
feedback
had
or
the-
something.
I had the back door open, so it might have been something.
Maybe.
It might be the
Since I had
aliens
headphones
we've
on,
been
I
hearing
couldn't hear
about.
Yeah, worst case scenario, we can just do a thing where Jeff just mutes himself between
Mm-hmm.
speaking.
Just a push to talk. It seems to have cleared up now.
Well, that's good.
For the moment, we are good. So I will continue with the soiree because this is going to be relevant to Jeff pretty strongly shortly. But when the group went to this huge soiree at the Citadel of Ravenfall itself, many familiar faces were present, including the Baron Gregory Langarian and his Raven cultist cousin Phoenix, who keeps whispering in his ear. The Baron Padrick Scully and his son Robin, who the party once dumped on a slave ship.
Oops.
The Sheriff Rufus P. Coldrain and Lord Mayor Julius Hogg of Mudhollow. That would be Fedid's own nemesis. In addition, Tromlin's siblings, Lobelia and Lothric Boltrey, were there. A bunch of ambassadors from other nations, including the Elven ambassador, who Tromlin once stole an elven cloak from the ship of. The Tabaxi contingent includes Don Garveldo de Lasagna and his mute servant Odinardo.
Oh, buddy, you fell off.
Oh no, a birdie fell down.
Are you okay? You all right, bud?
That is a very incensed bird.
Oh yeah.
They do not like falling down.
It's okay.
Also present is Copernicus' cousin, Captain Darius Sunshine, Sir Godfrey, and the various Loxodons, of course. None other than Eliphas Darkmoor himself, leader of the Raven Cult. And Glorpa was there with her date for the evening, the Shambling Mound.
Nice.
So after catching up a bit with Glorpa, the party split up into groups. Lady Direless took Ugna off to meet all the important people before the fight. Tromlin decided to attract some notice from his siblings and Robin Scully, and basically went around threatening them all, which is great. He also managed to prevent Phoenix Langarian from slipping something into Baron Gregory's drink. I'm hearing it again there, Jeff.
Okay, I'll just mute myself till I need to talk.
Weird. It's almost like a printer noise. I'm guessing that it's
It reminds me of like I've had times where I've been using headphones and a call is about to come in, and before the call happens,
yeah,
there's a
there's like a
buzz in
little
my
pulse.
headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that pulse. Like that's what it sounds like.
You wanna go over there, bud?
Anyway, who knows? Technology, man. At least it isn't like constant. It was coming and going, so the muting will probably be all we need to do.
Again, I think it's just the aliens using Morse code or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff, you got aliens.
Yeah.
I hate aliens.
Gotta bring a guy
At
in.
least the U.S. government is starting to recognize you officially.
Now you can get a service in. Oh, here's your problem. Yep.
Got,
Yep,
got
you
it.
got
You got all them
grazed.
aliens.
You got
Yep.
biologics.
Non-human biologics.
Yeah, somebody's fucking dog. So anyway, where was I? Right, Tromlin and Morgan also noticed that there are fairies around the hall. Pucklezog the butler is amongst the servants, and various other servants in the place seem to be made up. Seem to be illusions made up of groups of tiny pixies in disguise, in like stacks. So Perny used the gem of true seeing, and he noticed a whole bunch of stuff, including the fairies, who he noticed were kneeling and bowing to Morgan for some reason, with others distributed around the room. He also noticed that his cousin has a backpack with a pair of giant invisible cannons.
Perfectly normal thing to have.
He noticed a bunch of invisible runes all around the room, doing some kind of strange magic, including a silver thread of magic going from Eliphas Darkmoor out into the ether. And he seems to be surrounded in weird spirits. And finally, he noticed that the Don Garfeldo is in fact an illusionary disguise, and it is in fact El Gato, the notorious bandito. And Don Garfeldo has been his alter ego all along. Or maybe he's
Shocking.
just taking his place right now because he's like a Skrull. Trying to be topical. That's a recent show. He passed all this information on to the party. And he also noticed an invisible assassin talking to Robin Scully.
Right.
He passed this information on to the party. Tromlin bribed the pixies with booze in hopes of starting trouble. And Glorpa had a vision about the eternal Seelie and Unseelie war, and the fact that the Unseelie are starting to win because of these recent events with the Raven cult and the Necrogog. We then finished up with Perny having a chat with his cousin, learning that their ship had been attacked by an aboleth as well. Suspicious. And the group was gathered around with Captain Darius, letting him know about the various things that are going on, just as a howl came in on the wind from beyond the city. And I am going to back up at this point and go back to Fetid. At the time earlier this afternoon, when he went off to go warn his fellow Quaggles about the things that the Weaselkin told you guys, that some of the other weasels in the city, and they gave a list of names as well, that some of the other weasels among the Quaggles are in fact Raven cultists and spies, and that they have been using a bunch of the tunnels into the city to smuggle things and sometimes people. And of course, their leader is Toad.
Who got away?
Is that the guy who completely owned me when I tried to fight him the other
Yeah,
time? Yeah, I hate
Turned out
that
to
guy.
be a powerful monk.
Hate that guy.
He's really good at kicking.
He kicked the hell out of me.
He went, frog legs. That's what's for dinner.
That's what's going to be for dinner.
Hope so.
Feed him to you.
I'll eat him and get his power.
Excellent. Oh no!
Cannib-
Oh no! You've gone
cannibalism
French.
is-
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, cannibalism is a lot more complicated being a humanoid in the
Yeah.
D&D universe.
Yep.
That
Or,
line
like,
is really
not
blurry.
Because there's so many weird, like sentient, just stuff everywhere. Even like normal carnivorism becomes weird when speak with animals is a spell.
hmm Do you want me to eat you? No. Well, shit. Now I feel bad.
You made it
I
weird.
shouldn't have asked. I was gonna do it anyway. Like,
Mhm.
No.
That's why you never meet your meat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Middlemen were
uh,
boring.
Fetid, you are
Yes.
heading off into the sewers to find Trit and Brenda.
Mhm.
Trit Reznor and Brenda Yuri, the leaders of the Goth Quaggles,
Yes.
and your dwarf barbarian buddy Butch.
All right.
So you have your backgrounds for finding knowing the sewer ways quite well. So you quickly find your way to one of the sort of larger Quaggle housing areas, and you quickly find Trit and Brenda. And as it happens, Butch is with them, since he's been kind of bodyguarding them. And they will immediately look at you with concern, since you still have, I believe you got a big healing, but you're probably still got a little bit of injuries
That would make
uh,
sense. Got
showing.
some boot prints on my head.
Yep. Just like in the shape of a frog foot.
Mhm. All right. Well, I will wave them over and fill them in on all of the incredibly bad news that we have learned.
So as you do so, as you come forward to talk to them, you notice uh, a couple of the weasels in the hall right where you are. So there's like a central fire burning and a bunch of quaggles around it, like cooking food. And then it's like Fraggle Rock. There's all the like kind of pockets in the walls, and that's where people kind of like are sleeping and stuff. But then there's a big central hall. It's a Quaggle Rock, of course. Not like your home Quaggle Rock. That's the best one. But because that's where Booger lives, Booger Quaggle, your buddy. But here, yeah, Trit and Brenda and Butch all come over to talk to you. But just as you're about to open your mouth and say something about these weasel infiltrators, you notice a
Yeah.
couple of weasels over their shoulder, sort of like paying a little bit of closer attention to what you're talking about than
I web them immediately, or try to anyway.
sure. You go straight for the web spell, and I will roll a saving throw. I believe that's how that works. I don't think you need to make
No, I think
an
it's
attack roll. Yeah, just straight up fills a 20-foot area, and they have to make a saving throw. Deck save. So I will roll their deck saves. Those are exceedingly mediocre rolls, single digit rolls from both of them, so that ain't gonna do it. I have a 6 and a 7. So they like immediately like surprised as they're like swept up into this just like mesh of hanging web. Again, this like spurts out of your mini bugs that you like send over in a swarm, and they are just immediately woven up. There are shouts, of course, all around the quaggle, the assembled quaggles, like, wow, what the hell's going on? Trit and Brenda are like, what's happening?
Become dangerously paranoid, but it's entirely justifiable. And then I will explain what's going on. Be like, we need to interrogate these two, or at the very least keep them immobilized, so they can't run off and tell whoever they're reporting to, because that was suspicious, and I give them a dirty look.
Yeah, Butch will like head over and like pull out his hand axes and be like, I don't know what you guys did, but it's you don't do it anymore. And Brenda and one of the other quaggles will kind of like rifle down their outfits, and find that they in fact also have the little silver raven holy symbols on silver chains secreted on their persons. So you can immediately tell them, yeah, these guys that jumped me had that exact same symbol. So Trit will say, oh, what happened?
Well, I got my ass kicked by a frog, which is very embarrassing, but also made me really angry. And yeah, shit's fucked. Everything's fucked. And fill them in from there.
So you tell them about the fact that the Raven cult is doing some kind of spell on the city, and that they're using the Quaggle network to pass on their messages.
Yeah. And I want to
And
warn them about that barbarian incursion as well, because hasn't that been primarily affecting the Quaggles, more or less, if I remember correctly?
to an
Or am I
extent,
thinking?
that they've been raiding. They've been raiding
Yeah.
the city in general, so it's kind of affecting everybody.
hmm
But the Quaggles are no exception. And
Sure.
Trit will say that that explains a lot. Whenever they raid, they usually uh, attack our tunnels as well.
Mhm.
Um, that would explain why how they know how to find our secret entrances. This is very bad.
It
Um,
is.
if they know how to, if they can get in, not all of our passages are big enough for big dumb people, but uh, there's a there's a good chance that they could come into the city through some of those passages.
hmm
What should we do?
Uh, well, I think it depends on each tunnel. I would say seal off what you can and place traps on everything else if possible. And I can certainly help with that. I'm good at that stuff.
Yeah, Butch will be like, yeah, those traps that you helped us set before were really effective.
Yep, I think that's pretty much the best we can do. And then otherwise, just like stay out of the way because you guys
So
are no army.
yeah, so Fetid has a lot of skills related to setting traps,
hmm
and knows his tunnel ways quite well. You have the where is he here? So you have the,
Ambusher,
yeah,
yeah.
ambusher as your kobold type, which gives you trap making proficiencies. But
Mhm.
you also have a feat dungeon delver.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I would say that between those, you should be in a pretty good shape to kind of help them figure out like what tunnels to kind of like what tunnels would be easy to like collapse or blockade, and
Mhm.
kind of direct any traffic towards traps and sort of maximize the value of
Yeah.
some traps. Why don't we make some rolls here on trap making?
All
So
right.
this will be largely wisdom based, I think. So it's going to be
Okay.
wisdom bonus plus your proficiency bonus
Okay.
for trap making. So that is a +7.
All right. That would be a 17 then.
And I'll actually give you that's a good roll, but I'll give you advantage as well, just because you're working
Okay.
with a group.
Yeah, that's better. That's a 19.
Nice. So about this time, like once you've kind of had these conversations, so you give the names that you were given to Trit and Brenda, because you were given a handful of weasel names when you
Mhm.
guys interrogated the weasels to be like, who are the other agents? They gave you a handful of names. So they immediately began spreading the word like wildfire that certain weasels are Raven cultists, and that they
Mhm.
should be, um, they should be rounded up. They've been spying and causing problems. And you start hearing over the PerniNet, because obviously when Copernicus, whenever you started, were communicating with the rest of the party over the course of the day,
Mhm.
Fetid would have heard it.
Yeah.
So the earliest things that you would hear from that um, would be some discussion about the the party preparing for this big party, this big shindig that's happening in this evening, and you hear a bunch of things about like fancy outfits and baths. And you decide that this tunnel needs a lot more traps. And that you would clearly are going to be very busy, far too busy to go anywhere near the place where everybody is bathing. You remember the last time that you went to a fancy party with
bad.
Cromlin. I
Found
don't
out
know
what
how.
color I actually am. It was horrible.
I don't know if
pretty good,
Alina
though.
wants to share that picture that
I think-
Lar drew.
I think I can. Let me give that a shot. I still love that you randomized your Pantone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Roll
Excellent.
for
Move.
Pantone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's our fancy boy.
Yay.
Let's pull him up.
I did a very cheap dancing or waddling animation of him in our chat.
Okay, that's the one I found apparently. So
Very
we all get to
good.
see that now. It's very good.
I love it.
I am very excited to see that. Oh my god.
I love it.
He's just a little guy. He's got
Yep.
so many ruffles.
7 years.
It's what
7 years of
clean.
art school.
Horrible.
Hell
That's how
yes.
I feel
access
when
to
I wear a
expensive
suit in real
animating
life.
programs.
Excellent.
And-
There you go, audience. That's for you.
Yep,
You love to see it.
love it.
Artsy
All right.
fartsy at its finest.
Okay.
Good
So
fancy boy.
basically what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to skip ahead a bit here because with Fetid being kind of out of the picture for a while, but listing in on the PernyNet, we can kind of fast forward through the things that happen for the rest of the afternoon because most of them involved fancy outfits and preparing to go to the party. So as the group heads out to the actual soiree, there's a bit of
Poor
like,
guy. That
Yeah.
poor guy.
I don't know what happened.
He's so I found the one of him having a bath.
Oh, the actual bath.
Yeah. Like you can just
That's
see a
the-
little bit of the grime at the end of his tail. That's his normal
That
color.
is the one. That is the original drawing that Lar made, where he built
Oh, the fly brush.
the fetid
Yes.
bug brush.
Oh, I need to get that.
That's
It's real
I
good.
was
that's how
I was lamenting
freaking
not having it from the recent drawing.
Ooh, I figured out how to do brushes because of a link Lar sent, and I have a beading brush now.
Nice.
So I'll send you that one.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
I needed it for reasons.
Okay. So I'm going to fill you in, Jeff, on some of the things that you heard over the PernyNet. And
Yeah.
as you do so, you have you ask the Quaggles sort of like, where is this thing that's happening? And they will share that there are in fact Quaggle tunnels through the. There's one of Alina's commissions.
Oh, it's a good boy.
Drawing so many good boys.
So they will share with you that there are in fact Quaggle tunnels up to and into the catacombs underneath the Citadel. So you'll have the ability to kind of like sneak in and spy on this big party without actually having to bathe and get dressed up.
Thank God. Okay.
So I'm sure there was at some point where Copernicus reached out just to be like, hey, Fetid, we're going to the thing. Are you coming? On the PernyNet and got like either radio silence or a can't busy
Mhm.
hunting cultists.
Yep. Busy making traps and
Important work.
maybe torturing people.
I mean, speaking of which, did you want to do any like questioning or anything of any of the prisoners? You don't have all of the tools you had last time, because like with Perny reading minds and Tromlin and Ugna being incredibly intimidating. But you do have, a swarm of Quaggles at your disposal. And Butch is pretty intimidating when he wants to be. When it can be explained to him what he's trying to do.
I
Feel
mean, the
like-
same goes for Ugna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a player, I feel like I should, but as a character, I think Fetid would be too fixated on setting up traps and doing all that sneaky shit instead of all of that boring talky shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that Copernicus and the others are real good at like pulling that information out, and they already did that to the first two that you captured. And there's also you managed to kind of gin up like a frog hunt
Right.
of people sort of looking for Toady,
Mhm.
kind of like let them know that he's the ringleader. He's the
Mhm.
you gotta find that guy. Which news when it reaches Ratty and Molly and Badger induces some dismay as
Mhm.
how far their friend has fallen.
Very grim.
It's like this new fad. He's just into being a cultist now.
Yep. Hate it.
Only they could find a new thing to distract him with.
If only like they'd seen the signs that led to this. Like
Yep.
once he started selling Mary Kay, getting into that MLM business, like
Oh, he sure loved some NFTs.
Mhm.
Yep.
yeah.
Non-fungible
Raven
toadstools.
NFTs.
Oh, good.
Oh no.
Non-fungusable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what
Worse.
fungible means, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Made of fungus.
Yeah,
These ones are not made of fungus, but they are
that's right. They're
toadstools.
non-fungible. That's because it's like art, like it's
Yeah,
2D
yeah, yeah.
rendering.
No,
of
wait.
fungus. So it's non-fungible. It's not
Maybe
really
he's-
fungus.
Maybe he was on to something. We're fighting this purple fungus. Like
That's
we need
true.
some
Yeah,
non-fungible.
what we need is a non-fungible version.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, and the challenge with the fungus is that it is decentralized, right? You
It's
can't
true.
just
Yeah.
There's a whole
Oh, I
network.
forgot to tell you before we started streaming, I was traveling with my wife and we spent a few days in Paris, which we typically do. And we were taking a cab to go somewhere, I forget where, and we drove right by an NFT art gallery that was having a big art opening, and the audience that was outside was exactly what you would expect.
Oh no.
Just this like perfectly toxic mix of like tech bros and like libertarian techno hippies and
Ooh, I hate it.
old dudes. Yeah, it was real bad. It was real bad.
Sigh.
I continue to wait for the Bitcoin
Yes.
building just up
There-
the street to shut down. It's like beside a
Oh.
subway, and there's
There's
just
a
one
Bitcoin
chair
seller.
inside it. And I'm like, this has got to be money laundering somehow, right?
For
Oh yeah,
sure.
it's like there's literally like a little like ATM type thing and one
Mhm.
guy at
And
a
one guy
desk.
on a chair, and that's it.
Like, and it's just like right next to the subway in this like dying little
Weird.
strip mall.
Yeah, I know. That's
And the
absolutely
sign on the
just
corner is
a
like
tax write-off.
Subway, Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Here's where you get your sandwiches and your
scams.
Market scams.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
scamwiches.
Would you like some Bitcoin on your sandwich?
Good.
Oh, thank you.
That would actually serve a purpose. Okay. So, what else would you hear? So over time, you will hear Copernicus. Actually, you will hear the point when Copernicus pulls out the gem of true seeing and tells everybody about all the stuff.
Mhm.
So there's a point where Copernicus lists through all of the invisible things that he sees, including the fact that there are groups of like deranged pixies spread out all over this room. The fact that there are weird magical sigils in a big circle around the perimeter of this hall. The fact that Eliphas Darkmoor is surrounded by invisible swirling spirits, and it seems to be concentrating on some sort of spell. The fact that his cousin, Captain Darius Sunshine, has a pair of full-on ship's cannons strapped to his back invisibly.
And when I asked him about those, that was just his like general paranoia over his patrons getting hurt, who are the people who he traveled with, who were
Or
already
just
attacked by the
generally,
Emperor.
that was him being. That's clearly a device made for him by the maestro. That is
Yeah.
like a pair of invisible cannons that he wears on his back like a backpack that like can come down over his shoulders.
But there,
You
he
like
had no
Eric.
specific threat that he was like packing for tonight. It was like general.
Yes,
He was-
he's
yeah.
paranoid about the fact that there is a giant gathering of important people,
Yeah.
and that like there have been magical threats along his way.
Got it.
Your family is very smart.
Yeah, and also paranoid and crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is no exception.
He's not paranoid. There are people here who are out to get.
Yep.
Makes him
Mhm.
just simply correct. He his
Just when
level of
he
fear
goes
was
on
properly
land,
calibrated to the situation.
when he goes on land and he doesn't have his ship, he takes a couple chasers with him just in case.
Yep.
It's like I can't shoot things from the ship from here, but I can bring a bit of that with me. And then, of course, the fact that there is an invisible assassin near the entrance in conversation with Robin Scully, who, of course, previously hired assassins to kill Tromlin. And finally, the bombshell that Don Garvaldo de Lasagna is, in fact, the notorious El Gato.
Unbelievable.
Ugna doesn't care about much of this until you tell her about the invisible assassin, and then she's going to stop glad-handing with whoever she's glad-handing with and try and work back through the crowd towards where Tromlin is. Tromlin and his kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of important.
Who has my death ward?
We had a really
Yeah,
nice,
you cast it on the kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we had a really nice spy movie monologue describing all the various enemies and wild things that were being seen, except everyone was in the Perny net except for me. And I was just getting things via text.
Yep.
So Morgan would be like reading it as it's coming out, and then was just like, is he talking about his 9 o'clock or my 9 o'clock? So we just had a montage of people like looking slyly around and identifying the person. Then Morgan's just like looking the opposite way, and then it was like,
Nice.
oh no, this way.
Okay, this is a good time for me to start the first poll of the night. So I'm going to ask my players to step themselves away from the chat.
I am out.
And I am about to launch the poll. As always, audience, you can use channel points to vote as many times as you would like. The poll will run for 10 minutes. I'm excited to see what you choose as the winner here. Here we go. The poll is now live. Also, to the players, I think I forgot to mention, and I don't know, maybe you already did, but when we went live is the time to do that social media thing and say, hey, everybody, this game is live.
It's there. Look at it. It's good.
Yep.
We got links.
It exists. There it
You
is.
give us money and then we can drink coffee. It's great.
Yay.
I do like coffee.
That's what streaming is for.
That's how the art happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh my
I
goodness.
mostly
there's a
drink
bunch.
tea. Coffee makes me too jittery to ink.
That's right.
I thought you
Alina
said-
is a caffeine super
It's
metabolizer.
I thought you said
Nice.
toot jittery. And I was like,
Toot.
that's
Toot,
makes me toot
and
jittery.
jitter. A jittery toot is a very specific kind
Ooh,
of fart.
you don't want
Like, that's-
that. You
We
don't
all
want that.
know immediately when you say
Bad
that
combo.
what that
Mhm.
means.
That's
My
usually
goodness.
day 4 of con food.
Mhm.
Early favorite, everybody.
I'm having
Let's see how this goes.
tiramisu bingsu in
Oh,
honor of
what?
Randy.
Oh what?
Nice.
Very good.
That
Nice.
sounds amazing.
Excellent. So, I will add to. So let's sort of reset the scene then. So, Morgan was in conversation with these pixies, who had informed you that we are here to protect you, ma'am. And you were in the process of sort of like shaking hands and generally trying to to go yes, but with a screen, you had pulled Ugna and the shambling mound over to kind of block. So Ugna, you've been seeing this. This is
Right.
Morgan sort of miming to nobody as she there's like a servant standing there, but his head is down and he's ignoring Morgan as Morgan appears to be
Talking to something else.
yeah. Oh, Paul, if you don't see the poll, you may need to just refresh the chat. It's happened before, where the poll just wasn't visible to certain people, and you just need to do a refresh. Even me, I have launched the poll and then found that it's not there until I refresh the chat, which is pretty freaking weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
But I launched it. Why can't I see it? Try that, and then let me know if you can.
Yeah.
It's
I
all
will
good.
lean in at one point. Once Morgan isn't actively in conversation with somebody, just be like, "Are you talking to some ghosties?"
Not really.
Okay, because I
Just
should get to Trumlin because the assassins and all.
Yeah.
If you're good
Yeah,
without
we
me,
should-
I'll be back.
We should probably shuffle together.
Okay.
And Morgan's gonna actually ask the pixies for a little favor
Ooh.
in exchange for a couple of the flowers off her dress. He's gonna be like, could you
Of course.
maybe spill something on and maybe expose that invisible guy over there? I think that'd be pretty funny.
So they'll look over that way and kind of whisper amongst themselves, and then one of them will kind of give you a wink and say, "Already taken care of, ma'am." And he'll point.
Beautiful.
And he'll point, and when you turn and look, you will see in the direction he's pointing, there's a large crowd of people, and you can't really see too well.
Mhm.
But in the sort of you have that your general connection to the Feywild, and you realize, oh, maybe this is not all as it seems, and you hold up your glass and look through it. And when you do that, you see a veritable swarm of very obviously drunk pixies flying along the ceiling, just like swarming in the direction of the invisible guy. Because you guys may not recall, but Tromlin went and bribed a bunch of the pixies already with
Right.
the last of his fairy wine
Right.
to do exactly what you just said.
Nice.
Perfect.
And behind you guys, because we just to tie it all together, we had said that at the end of game that right behind you guys, Copernicus and Darius were having their conversation. So at this point is when Copernicus will sort of like introduce you all, which we did last game. We played last game, but he sort of like introduces you to his cousin, who I'll remind you is an extremely he's tall but not crazy tall, but he's incredibly broad. Darius looks like he could be half giant. And this big man with a huge bushy beard and a giant meerschaum pipe with a lid on it, and a tricorn hat and a captain's coat. Various like medals, like just like a North Korean style wall of medals on one lapel, but most of which are like to some degree steampunk oriented, and they're like randomly cogs are whirring and twisting, and every once in a while his pipe does a little like steam whistle noise. Toot toot.
Good.
Keep them votes coming. We are down to the last 3 and a bit minutes on the poll. We've got an early favorite, but there's still anybody's game here.
Well, Perny is desperate to get a closer look at those runes on the floor. If anyone is able to buy him time where it won't look weird, and I think what he was going to do is spill something so that he can inspect on a closer level, where it looks like he's just cleaning up like a dropped glass or something like that.
Indeed, you can. You can do that. You are absolutely in a good position to do a screening. Again, you have
Arcana, do you think?
I think you already made the investigation roll with the geometry seeing to spot it. Now it's about like examining it and trying to figure out what it's doing. So it's about the Arcana check at this stage.
Alright. Oh, do I have inspiration? I do not. So it's a
No.
4 on the die, which is a 14 altogether, but not
Uh,
the result I was hoping for.
A good time, however, for me to inform the audience. As always, you can increase that inspiration counter with cheering. So if you feel like using some of your cheers, whatever bits you may have, you can cheer for our party. And if that counter tops over 100%, everybody gets another inspiration. But I will say that since you are in direct involvement with both Morgan and Ugna here, you could someone could spend a 2-for-1 if you want to.
No, I mean, this could be important, but I think that you should hold on to your.
Yeah, I
hold on
think
to your
we'll
inspiration.
save it for the raid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is
Agreed.
sure to come.
So with a 14, you are uncertain what the exact purpose of this magic is, but you do notice that these runes are not recent.
Hmm.
They are very well established magical sigils or wards, and whatever they are doing, they are like maintaining quite rigorously.
Gotcha.
You're pretty sure that it's related. Like you're pretty sure that all of these wards or runes are connected to each other. That whatever they're doing is one effect. It's not like each like this particular rune is a rune of X, and then maybe the next one over is a different one.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the magical connections between them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Down to the last minute of the poll, everybody. Get your votes in before the time is too late.
The other thing that I'd like to do is see if we can figure out the nature of whatever Elephas is concentrating on.
Mhm.
Seems important.
Yeah.
You're not sure if he's actually concentrating on a spell, but he's got like you were able to see with the Gem of True Seeing a magical thread, like the effect of a spell coming from him like out through like one of the high windows.
Right. Like maybe he cast a ritual and he was maintaining it.
Or someone else could like have cast a spell on him and be maintaining it. Like it's not necessarily his concentration that's doing this. Oh, here we come down to the last few seconds.
And Fetid has now arrived at the party, correct?
You don't know. Fetid is Fetid. Yes, you are in fact hiding within the vents, basically in the catacombs, or up from the catacombs under the citadel, and you can basically be kind of you can find a vantage point where you can peer through a grate and kind of see generally what's going on here. Okay, that is it for the poll, everybody. Thank you very much for your votes, and players, you are now. It's quite all right to jump in there and hang out in the chat.
I think Perny will, through the Perny net, ask, would any of you keener-eyed young'uns want to join me by the northeast window, or whatever window the thing was extending out through, and see if you can just spot where, if there's anything out there that's of notice. I worry that there's an enchantment being maintained by someone outside, or possibly some kind of spell effect, and I'm not particularly good at spotting things from a distance. But yeah, if anyone with better perception than me wants to go take a crack at seeing where the thread might go. I know you probably can't see the thread, but you might be able to see if there's like someone on the roof or someone outside or something casting something. It'd be helpful to know.
So that window is up like high on the side. While it's not an easy vantage point, someone would have to like climb up there or fly up there.
I can levitate up with Fetid, I think.
Yeah.
Well, if Fetid wishes to respond to you on the Perny net, he in fact actually he's in the vents. He could go and climb over there himself.
I'm into it.
I'll be like, I'm a little busy right now, as somebody comes up and I have to shake their hand and be like, oh yeah, we'll see you at the match later. It's gonna be a good one. Don't miss it.
I will perceive. Sorry, I was just looking at reference images because I'm working on a drawing for us. But I will do a perception.
It's a good time to mention to the audience as well, for those who may not be aware or who may not be currently subscribed, subscribers to the channel get to be entered into the art draw at the end of the game, where we will draw for who gets some of these fun art pieces.
Assuming
What
Twitch
our-
lets us download the subscriber lists.
Yep. Did we do it from last time?
We did, but I haven't rolled yet. I'll have to pull up
Okay,
the old
so-
subscriber
Well, I can.
list.
I'll at least roll it on the list that you downloaded.
Yeah.
So we can at least do that one for this one. But it's a good reason for people to subscribe. Is my point.
I got a 14 on my perception.
You will notice. Sorry, what are you looking for? Are you looking for something specific? Let's make sure I caught that.
I'm
Or are you just checking out things?
yeah, I'm generally checking out things, keeping an eye out, and considering making a distraction so that
Okay, so you don't
Get a better
notice
look at
a
the room.
lot with that 14, but one thing you do notice is the moping sighing of the shambling mound, who's kind of standing still behind you because he was kind of blocking the view of people from you interacting with the pixies. So you you notice he's kind of like doing like a big like theatrical kind of like and he's taken his new beat up top hat off and is just kind of like play like sort of like manipulating it in his various vines.
Mhm.
And he's clearly trying to get somebody's attention.
Performative
when he-
sadness.
When he gets your attention, he kind of does like a little bit more of a and he kind of like half-heartedly holds out like a bundle. It looks like a bundle of leaves in your direction.
oh, buddy, you all right? Are you shedding or something? No, I'll take a look at his hands.
He's molting.
He doesn't speak, but you kind of get the idea that he's saying like he's kind of doing like a no, don't mind me, I'm fine. But you take the bundle and you take it. You go to take it, and then you kind of maybe grab it more gingerly because you quickly realize that it is in fact the leaf that Galorpa was using as an outfit, or otherwise, it's
Yeah.
it's Galorpa's crotch leaf.
Oh,
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
Good. Good.
And it is wrapped up and tied with some other kind of vegetative material, like a little package.
Oh boy. A plant merkin. Just what we needed.
Yeah.
Our good old Glorpa, leaving us
Yep.
various excretions.
Hmm.
Oh, doesn't she need this? And I'll look around for. Do they see that she's not?
And you see no sign of her.
Yeah.
She was like kind of like hanging off of her Shimling Mound date, like sort of like arm in vines before, but
Mhm.
she seems to have disappeared. You briefly are like, has she been like engulfed in some way? Is she
Oh yeah. I'll
inside
take.
the plants?
I'll take a little like peep.
You like
just
sort of like do a little like. Yeah, the smell quickly drives you off. And
Yeah.
you're like, it's like, it smells like rotting leaves and swamp floor in there.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Which might mean she's in there. Who knows?
She doesn't smell great.
Yeah, what do you want to do with this
We love her.
package?
She
You're
fits
kind of
in.
like you're trying to hold this package you've been given without
Yeah.
holding it. Like
I'll
it's kind
take
of
a little. I'll take a handkerchief off of me, which I have to have many of with this party,
oh yeah.
and put it down in
You
my
can burn it
hand and-
afterwards anyway.
Yeah. Put it in my hand and examine it, see if there's like a note or something.
You actually have mage hand
Oh yeah.
if you want.
No,
you could just
no, I don't know.
you could like
I don't
just
want-
magically hold it. That's a cantrip. It doesn't cost you anything.
Actually, you're right. Combination of mage hand and
Finger wipes.
yeah.
Yeah. You can gingerly untie the little bow of grass that's wrapping it up, and the leaf unfolds, unfurls. It reveals several things. First of all, of course, the scent comes out of it.
Musky.
Oh yes. Yeah, you never did ask exactly how it was being held in place.
Oh boy.
You're not sure.
I had an inkling.
But there are
named Glorpa for a reason, so.
the other two things you notice is that incongruously inside this leaf is a beautiful little crystal vial of deep purple liquid. Like it's like a very fancy crystal. It's got like a beveled top with a little crystalline ground crystal stopper that's fitted into it, and a little wax seal, and a little bit of a gold kind of ribbon filigree thing around the neck. Yeah, very incongruously. Yeah, it also looks wet. You're not sure where it was previously. And this other thing you notice is that the inside of the leaf has leaf mold on it that is shaped into a note, like someone like a druid has caused it to grow in a specific pattern, so that this leaf can be used as a note. And the note says, a little birdie just told me that my boyfriend is in town back in Mud Hollow. I have to rush off if I want to see him before he moves on. Take this potion. P. Schnorp said it was very rare, so it might be useful. Fetid can also keep this leaf to chew on. It's a good one.
Oh, I don't think I want to chew on that particular leaf.
And I have a quote from Danielle that this is not a sexual gesture from Glorpa, but intended for familiarity and friendship. Since she didn't get to see Fetid, it's like when a cat curls up in a human shoe or a dog licks the crotch of their human's dirty underwear.
Oh, Danielle, you're a treasure. Never change.
Oh,
I love that
goodness.
Danielle managed to come up with something so gross that Fetid won't eat it.
Yep.
Like that's, I think, the first time in the campaign this has happened.
Although I will point out that the wording implies that the leaf has an effect of some sort.
True.
That is true.
Fetid can chew on this leaf. It's a good one.
Lane,
Anyway, so
are you fucking with us?
Why would I do that? Why would I take advantage? Why would I take advantage of the fact that Fetid will eat absolutely anything?
Oh boy,
that's never been a thing that's affected anyone in this game before.
No, not even once.
I stand by that. But yeah, and as you read the note, the shambling man kind of like waits patiently for you to finish reading it, and then does another big performative sigh.
Okay, bud. Jeez.
And he kind of like shuffles his feet a little bit, like it's like, poor me.
Like scan the room. I'm looking for a very specific type of hoe. A slut with very specific desires, and I'm likely to find one and be like, have you met Rebecca? I think you should meet Rebecca. I think you guys
You're
get
looking
along
for
really
like
well.
you're looking for cult members.
Yeah.
Like of
No.
the blood sugar sex magic.
Yes, I have priorities. I'm
Indeed.
obviously going to hook this shambling mound up with somebody that would be compatible. That's
Okay.
first.
This is a relatively tall order, but like not beyond your capabilities. I also you also know, of course, that if all else fails, that the Lady Pudenza is here, and also would probably be able to
She has exotic
to aid you in this. Well, actually, she does. Maybe I'm going to make a roll there. Why don't you make me a wild magic luck roll?
Hell yeah. Pink for the Barbie movie.
How bad do you want to make this setup happen? Because you've got a bunch of options to stack this deck. Like this is what you do.
Can I guidance myself?
Hook up weird
you
monsters
can.
with cult members?
So I'll make the list, and you can tell me which ones you want to do. Okay. You can spend sorcery points to stack this deck. Basically, the equivalent of giving a saving throw penalty to your target. You can
I'm still listening, by the way.
luck stack this with a wild magic. You can also guidance yourself and your skill roll. And finally, you can wait to see what the skill roll does, and then you have potential luck and sorcery point rerolls. So you've already asked about guidancing yourself. So I'll assume that one to start with. Oh, uncertain if we're even. Oh yeah, you can start here.
Guidance.
Okay.
And
Do you want to put some sorcery points on it?
I will also put a couple sorcery points on it.
And lastly, do you want to put a wild magic on it for luck?
No.
Are you sure?
I'll show some restraint, okay? A
But
modicum.
I
of
like rolling on the
restraint.
wild magic table.
I'll
Okay.
save that for in combat.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
Um,
it's D20 and D4,
so
right?
you're saving your wild magic luck points. So go ahead and roll a what would be the right appropriate skill for setting folks up. I'm going to actually make 2 skill rolls for me, and you can guidance them both. I want an insight.
Okay.
Because you're going to need to sort of get into somebody's.
Utilize
You're going
my
to get into
empathy skill?
somebody's kinks, and then you can make and that will help you in your persuasion roll.
I imagine a
using
shambling
my,
mound is pretty good at shibari.
My empathy skill? That comes into play?
So no, just yeah. I mean, it's the same roll, but yeah, you're
Okay.
rolling an insight check.
Ooh, that's bad.
Ooh.
Here.
That's a 4.
And then you got the plus D4. So do you want to re-roll
Plus,
that? You have various
that's-
ways to do that.
That is a. That's a 12. That's a
So you-
13.
It's a
altogether.
13, and then you also add a D4 because you guided
No, that's
yourself.
with the D4.
Ooh.
So what did you actually roll?
I rolled a 3 plus my
Oh, yeah.
9. Plus
That's
my
rough.
1.
So that's a 12, and then you rolled 1 on the D4.
Yeah.
So you can spend a sorcery point to re-roll. You can re-roll skills with this just by spending a sorcery point.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so 1 sorcery point
Oh,
for the
that's
re-roll.
nice. That's a 19.
Okay, so that's a 19. And then you also spent the sorcery points to penalize. So you penalize by 3 the dice roll of your target. I randomized a luck roll for sort of like whether there is anything to go off of here in terms of like cult members present. So that is an abysmal roll on their end with the penalty.
They're like actively talking about how they love plants, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, if only someone would tie me up with some ivy. I don't know.
Yep. You know what? If you're willing, I'm going to make an offer for you to bend luck. Oh, hey, an actual shambling mound. Yay. Or maybe that was just Swamp Thing. I don't know. Basically what shambling mound is. I'm going to offer that if you want to take a wild magic surge for a luck here, there will full on be a druid member of the cult present that the lady Pudenza knows, and you will 100% succeed at your setup.
Hell yeah.
What do you think? You gonna go for it?
Hell yeah.
Okay,
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm going to roll.
Fighting
we'll
evil
see.
by moonlight, winning love by daylight. Like we do.
Indeed. Oh, hey, you got one of the. Yeah, you got one of the good ones.
Oh, thank God.
I thought for a second that I had rolled up to 3 creatures within 30 feet of you take 40/10 lightning damage.
Ooh.
But I was not quite in that one. It was the you regain your lowest level expended spell slot.
Oh, nice.
So
I don't think that's anything right
I don't
now.
even know if you're down a spell slot. I can't remember oh no, you are. Because you cast back when you guys were trying to stop Toady from taking
My dimension
down.
door.
Yeah, you dimension doored.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just double checking your low levels and see if you spent it, but you didn't. You did not spend any first level. You did a Misty Step, but you can do that without spending a spell slot once per day, so that would have been that. Yeah, Dimension Door is the lowest level you cast, so you actually get a 4th level spell slot back from that.
Damn.
Hurdy dang sweet.
Damn.
That's some lucky luck right there.
Luck of
Okay.
the Fae.
Indeed.
Roll for kink.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Okay, so there is in fact a halfling druid here.
Perfection.
And you kind of like sidle up to Lady Direlust and kind of are like, hey, anybody into this kind of thing? And she quickly sort of gives you a nod in the direction of this halfling. And what's this halfling's name going to be? Let's do a halfling name generator. So we can have a
fucker.
Now, it won't be that on the name. It won't be that on the nose, that's for sure. Halfling. Here we go. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll go with this one. It's a little on the nose as well. It's Sarah Thistlefinger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this noun based or verb based? Because it kind of matters. Anyway, so yeah, Sarah Thistlefinger is hanging out over there, and you kind of like go, hey, have you met Shambly?
Actually, I go up to her and I say, I heard that you're hedging your bets on getting pricked tonight. Have you met my friend Shambling Mound?
Hedging your bets. Or betting on hedges. Yeah, you taking a look at some. Yeah, you go up and you start talking to her about this. And there's like almost a glow as your wild magic kicks in. And you kind of feel like almost like this sparkling, and you suddenly remember that there are a whole bunch of deranged pixies around you who would love to help you with all sorts of endeavors. And you quickly see, it's like the scene in Willow with the fairy dust when the little brownie guy falls for the cat. Your eyes, your whiskers. Except it's this halfling druid and the shambling mount.
Nice.
And she starts flirting hard on the shambling mount, and he's like all like digging his toe in the ground, and he's got his like disintegrating top hat that he's like, oh shucks. With.
Oh, I should find the picture of good old hedge himbo.
I think you shared it. You shared it last time.
Where is he?
The shambling himbo.
There he is.
Gotta love the shambling himbo. So meanwhile, Fetid, you're trying to get a look out the window.
Yes.
As to what's going on out in the distance there. And there he is.
He looks so mushy.
We found him in a garbage heap.
Yep.
He's very
my
gross.
goodness.
No, it's funny. The group fought this shambling mound, and then later on, the shambling mound had been smitten by Glorpa and showed up randomly with a bunch of dead flowers and a decaying top hat.
He might be slightly cleaner now, just because he's no longer living in a trash heap, but he's
Yeah.
also hanging
mean-
out with Glorpa, so
Yeah, you don't know where he was before Glorpa brought him to the
yeah.
event.
I have some
Perfect.
guesses. No,
Um,
good.
Yeah. So Fetid, I'm gonna get you to make me a acrobatics roll.
That is very good.
From
That is, 24.
oh, that's extremely good.
Cats.
And with the aid, oh my goodness, that was a big commission.
Yeah.
3 cat.
We're getting to some of the group portraits now.
Oh, that's impressive.
And yeah, with the it's not an easy way to find your way there and climb up, but with your swarm, you can generally sort of aid yourself quite well. Your swarm can kind of fly you at slow speeds where necessary. So you are able to sort of find some back ways around to the outside of that part of the building, and there's like a drain pipe that you shimmy up and make your way into that sort of barred window, where you catch Copernicus's eye, and you have a look out on the horizon. Before you do that, though, I realized I never gave you an opportunity. So you were watching what was going on in this place, and you also got to see all of the familiar faces that were here, including the faces of your nemesis, the sheriff,
I know
Coldrain, and the mayor.
it's taken like everything in my power to restrain myself from just trying to snipe them from where I am, but I'm gonna restrain myself for now.
I will say, though, that as you're making your way up to this vantage point, you will notice, because you kind of can't avoid like keeping an eye on those bastards. You will notice. Where's my notes? Open notes. Where are you? You will notice that they are frequently whispering with a couple of the local nobles. And those nobles are a pair of very similar aged male and female humans. But you recognize their livery that they're wearing. Like they have a family crest, and they're both wearing these heavy cloaks with the same brooch that you have frequently seen the Baron Tobias wearing in Mud Hollow. They are members of the House Grey Tower. And the two of them look so alike, and in age and in facial features, that you would imagine that they are siblings, if not full-on twins. And you will recall when, God, I can't remember who even gathered this information, but from the previous adventures, Tromlin talking to all the different Thieves Guild people, and Copernicus talking to his contacts. Everyone had gathered a bunch of information about the Raven cult in the city, and one of the things that they had heard was that there were 2 members of the Grey Tower family who are believed to, by the Thieves Guild, to be members of the Raven cult. And you think these 2 might be them, but they are in rather surreptitious and continuing conversation with the sheriff and the mayor of Mud Hollow.
Okay.
I'll remind everyone too, the Lord Mayor of Mud Hollow is a beardless dwarf who wears a white suit with a cowboy hat. And his name is Julius Hogg.
He's awful and I hate him.
Yep.
He hates Quaggles.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And his sheriff is always talking about how he's going to get them Quaggles. You.
We will
All right.
thwart his every plan.
Indeed.
Thwart him.
You'll also notice that they are talking quite a bit with some of the local nobles. And you kind of wonder at one point, what the heck would the sheriff and mayor of Mud Hollow, I mean, I get, like, they're like noble adjacent, but they're like middle classers. They're not actual nobles, but they're having a lot of discussions with like various nobles from the city here. It makes you
Is it
suspicious.
about us?
Everything about them makes you suspicious,
It's
but it
about
makes you
us.
suspicious. So you get up into this window and you look out the horizon. Make me a perception or investigation check, whichever is better.
That would be
Can I
perception.
get-
That is a 26.
Okay, I was gonna offer the help action, but I think it's entirely redundant.
Ooh, 26.
Yeah.
So you don't notice anything initially, but as you kind of stay up here, you can kind of keep an eye on things. You'll notice things before others do when they start to happen.
Mhm.
Otherwise, for the rest of you, so Ugna, you're still here. So the shambling mound and the halfling go sort of off into the crowd, and you're left as a group, kind of all nearby, near this one rune where Copernicus was trying to sort of keep you guys kind of screening him while he investigates it. And you're standing there with Captain Darius. And Ugna and Lady Direlust is there introducing more random people to Ugna. And she says, she kind of whispers over to you and tries to also get your attention, Morgan, to say, it's time for some, darlings, it is time for some of the theatrics. And she's gesturing to Kangar, the Loxodon wrestler who your big match is with, to come over this way.
Yeah.
And
Kangar,
so
who
a
I'm sure
big,
is shirtless and oiled up.
yes, with his
Yep.
big balloony, fancy velvet pantaloons and his big curled toed boots and his cross straps over his bare oiled chest. Lots of jewelry on his wrists and fingers and tusks, and rings in his big Loxodon ears. Some kind of fancy trunk jewelry, and he comes over with his his tusks up, like looking all proud because he knows what's happening, and he comes over too close. What are you gonna do?
Well, if we're doing some theatrics here, I'm gonna give him the little bit of a come at me, come jostle me, because
Jostle
he
me,
knows
bro.
how to play this. He knows how to play this
Yep.
too. So if he does come and jostle me, then I will spill my drink on myself in a very what very overacted way, and then be like, hey.
So big question.
Yeah.
Did you discuss how you're going to do, who's the heel and who is there, what have you planned? I
Yeah.
want to know
I
how
mean,
you're going to play that, because you had
storyline
time. Had time to discuss this.
Exactly. The storyline is that he's the proud southerner come to the north and be like, is this the best you got?
So probably heel. He's the heel,
which is
in
weird
this
because
case.
I'm usually the heel. But, I'm from the north. I'm not from here. But,
things are different. Things have changed too, right? Because
Things
you
have
just
changed.
found out that Tromlin was arranging for some kind of run-in from the locals.
Yeah.
So you don't even that hasn't even been discussed yet.
I'm now thinking that the storyline is I need to lose a fight against him so that Basilisk can come in and win. For the honor of the North.
So
but
for now,
the first steps
he
of
knows
this game
to
are
play up
still,
heel.
yeah, he's the heel, I'm the offended party from the North, and he's gonna come after me, and I'm gonna be like, oh,
He knows nothing yet about Basilisk.
Yep. The
And
original fight, of course,
and
is
he
going to be
changed plans,
he's the heel, and then I win for the honor of the North.
Okay, so in that case, then he deliberately does a jostle. He comes up with lots of his entourage
Yep.
of other Loxodons.
Good.
Yeah, you can see Sir Godfrey in the back being kind of gleefully oh, I'm part of this theatric. How exciting. And Captain Ulf is there, and he comes up and deliberately does like he as he's coming closer, you like signal him and then you turn your back so that you can be unawares.
Yes, yeah.
And he deliberately shoulders you as he goes by.
And I'll
He is
Can-
much bigger than you,
dramatically-
shorter, right? He's got
Right.
the loxodon mass, but you're, with your
I'm tall.
your extreme size, large even for an orc, you're actually like an inch or two taller than he is.
Yeah.
Can,
He's
can
he's
I
definitely more massive.
can I assist in having this drink? Oops-a-daisy, wet my sheer dress.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
you quickly grab Pudenza and pull her so that both of you like get,
Are in
and
the
you mage
splash zone?
hand
we're the-
hand the drink and just like splash zone yourselves.
Oh, that's
so
even
that
better.
you can both like gasp and play up a big.
I see this and I get like a little bit of splash on myself, but it's mostly gone on the two of you, and I just roll with it because I'm now like, oh, you better apologize right now. Do you know who you just spilled my drink on? You big clumsy oaf.
Oh my god.
He jumps into the foreigner like you've talked to him before, and he
Oh,
just
yeah.
sounds like a guy.
He's just a
but
guy.
he jumps into this, the Alphalicians are too proud to apologize to puny northerners.
Yeah, I bet you are. You southerners don't give a damn about us up here in the north with all your fancy palaces. You think we're just a bunch of barbarians, right? And I like play up the crowd.
Nice.
Yeah. And I look
And like
around.
you don't get a lot because the crowd is
Oh, yeah.
mostly like nobles.
Yeah.
So they're all like they've all
Ooh,
jumped
ooh.
straight into audience mode, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And he does like holds his arms out like to hold people back as like his entourage all kind of like
Yeah.
shoulders up like offended, and they all start in Southern, they all start like
Muttering.
murmur, like they're deliberately
Yes.
speaking the Southern dialect
Good.
of Common.
And I am gonna push it even further by like taking a deep old breath with the corsetry that's going on now. That's gonna put things like right by his face and then come and loom over him and be like, "You better take a knee right now."
Oh yeah, you've got a couple extra inches because of your heels that you're wearing.
I've got like the Demona beat boots. They're huge.
And yeah, also remember you guys prepared your outfit
Mm-hmm.
for certain
Yep.
display.
I'm building to that.
Okay. He puffs out his chest and like you're like you're kind of squashed against it. But like he's still got all that mass, so he
Yeah.
like puffs
He's a
out his
big guy.
barrel chest, and his diameter expands by like a foot
Yep.
as he like puffs out his chest and kind of like pushes you back slightly. And he sort of like he brings the trunk up and starts like doing like
Ooh,
an
a
angry snake. Remember
that
he
is
is
his strangling.
Kangar the Strangler.
That is his strangling arm.
is his thing. As he's like arms both out, like sort of holding back his entourage, and now you're like standing alone.
Yeah.
Like those around you have kind of taken a step back. I could imagine Darius might like briefly look like he's gonna start something because it might not be like he's this kind of theatrics might not be something that immediately is obvious to him. But Copernicus, you would sort of, so you still have the gem. You would see Darius kind of like look over at you and like start to have the cannons kind of like come down
Oh,
over his shoulders.
I'll do like no. It's all right, cousin.
And then he'll kind of like give you a curious look and then like settle back in with his thumbs in his captain's coat lapels and
He hasn't
take a
been to a show
long
like this
puff on
before.
his pipe. He's like,
What
are
theatrics.
these crazy noble people doing?
Just theatrics.
Oh, great.
Don't. I got like a show fight.
Yeah.
Lubbers.
Flair for the dramatic. Surely you, a pirate captain, know all about that.
Shake his head and just mutter lubbers.
Mhm.
They
Um,
killed an aboleth.
I mean, together,
True.
kinda.
Yep.
Kangar helped.
Um, yeah. Otherwise, I think generally people are sort of like giving you a wide berth because it's very clear to everyone here that this is,
Yeah.
especially remember pit fighting is super popular in the north.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody kind of gets what's happening here.
They know.
Um, and at that point,
Yeah, we're now tusk to tusk too, as I'm like snarling down at him, but he's got much more impressive tusks because he's an elephant.
honestly, you're like with his between his like puffed out barrel chest and your corsetry, you can't get that close.
No.
like there's a pretty like frankly, Copernicus could theoretically be standing directly under you both, observing this.
And
Like
we
there's a
wouldn't see
gap,
him.
right?
Yeah.
Like from sort of belly level down, there's like a good several feet between you.
We're
It's-
also probably doing the like lean into each other
Yeah,
sort of
like,
triangle
there's
to like
a-
really get like face to face.
Yeah. And then further up there's like a solid like, you know, you've made like a Jessica Rabbit sound effect.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Boom, boom.
So
Kinda thing
he's now
going in there.
menacing me, and I'm gonna
Yep.
be like, listen, we gotta respect our manners here. We ain't gonna fight in front of all these fancy people, but you, bud, and I'll poke him right in the chest a couple of times. You're
Yep.
gonna face me in the ring.
You
Honor will
reach,
be
reach over top of
served.
your decolletage so that you can
Yeah,
poke him in the chest.
and thus inviting him to then do challenge me and be like, oh, you're so weak.
Yeah.
And then I will do my what we've been building to.
He will respond, puny northerners, your gestures don't frighten me. And in fact, he'll actually produce from within his trunk, like a handkerchief and slap you across the face with it.
Oh, good. That's what I've been
Wow.
waiting for.
Came prepared.
And I'll like recoil like it actually hurt.
Yeah, and take a step
Oh.
back.
Oh.
It's like a piece of fabric.
Like sort of. And then all right.
Oh, and having done that, all of the Loxodons laugh like loudly. Like there's this big like roar of like
Yep.
laugh. Like, all these big Loxodons.
Mhm,
You see
mhm.
Sir Godfrey in the back going ha 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 ha. Yes. Ha 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 ha.
Does Ugna have the
I am
backing
laughing
of a
naturally.
posse
What's
of
that?
equivalent size, or should we fill in and run behind her to like catch her when she like rocks back, and then she's
Yeah,
holding us
yeah,
back?
yeah.
As we're, like,
No,
really
because
anxious.
she doesn't really have a posse here. She's on her
It's
own.
just me.
All right,
Yeah.
Perny's gonna rally the party to like
Aw.
everyone
have-
go be Ugna's posse.
That's true.
We're
I
in this
also have
together.
Trey, who is my like cheetah on a gold
no.
leash.
Yep.
Just an
I
owlbear on a
will-
gold leash.
Oh yeah, it's so behind
And
Ugna.
he's
So
doing like a little
behind
angry hiss.
Kangar, he has just a row of big Loxodons, all like looking burly. Behind Ugna, you've got Morgan and Lady Pudenza sort of like a few feet away doing like an oh goodness, oh my, like with their
We're so
their
wet.
besoiled outfits.
Yeah.
There
we'll
is-
be
there is-
dabbing each other dry.
There is currently no sign of Tromlin
Yeah,
or Webby.
alarming.
A few feet, but like on the other end of the leash behind Ugna is Trey, who is completely ignoring this and is like just like head down into like one of the little there's these little silver waste buckets on stands around the place where people throw like bones and things, and he's knocked one over and he's just rooting in it and completely ignoring what's going on above him. So Perny, you can kind of like, it's just you.
Just me and
like,
my old
Edit
man.
isn't here, and so you can, like Morgan and Pudenza are both playing up the, oh my goodness, the Shambling Mound has wandered off with this druid. It's just you and like your cousin a few feet away that you could kind of like,
Hey,
Try
he
to
was about
rally
to
up.
he was about to throw hands,
Yeah.
so you know he was
yeah, but
already
now
in
he's kind of
character.
like settled back and he's just watching.
Yeah. I'm gonna usher him forward so that we can be Ugna's like, and Perny will go like, Perny will like full like dog growl and Yeah, and then hold Ugna back when she starts going forward, like
yeah,
she's
yeah.
gonna fight. Can I give the help action to a performance check or make a performance check? What do I do here?
I'm trying to decide if this is going to help or hinder the
Yeah.
performance. Just this tiny man, like
Just a
Yeah.
no.
just a feral old man with a bucket and a large
In-
cod
And a
piece.
sailor.
In a leather
Feathers.
daddy outfit. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, I forgot
with
about
a
that.
giant codpiece. Yes, he dressed up at Direlust's as well. So he's
Oh,
I'll
leather
throw
daddy
some
grandpa.
thaumaturgy on myself to like boost the growls get loud
Make-
and echoey.
make me a performance check
All right.
yourself. With the use of thaumaturgy, I'm going to give you the ability to do this here.
Okay. Hey, that's a 19.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm
so
your little freak on a leash.
It's a weird
No,
angle, but it works.
No. So you spent a little bit of time with Tromlin and observing Tromlin. Tromlin flitted into the fight promoter when you guys went to the fight pits to
Yeah.
try and like placate things. And you saw Tromlin in smarmy fight promoter mode chatting with Jemmy, the Mouth of the North. And so you're like, that's an angle. You can be the little rabid
promoter.
manager. Yeah,
My
I mean,
little
like
freaky manager.
if Paul Bearer can do it and
Yeah.
be the like cadaverous, like he's got nothing.
Save it for the ring, Ugna. Tear him apart in the ring.
Oh.
Like, and you're like,
He's
you do the
no good if you
thaumatur-
kill him before the fans can watch.
You get that
Think of the
like,
fans.
high eerie pitch on the voice. So also you're using your thaumaturgy.
Yeah.
So
It
so
sounds
Copernicus like black shadows of your like shadow armor like reach around all around you, and your eyes blaze with otherworldly green and red lights, and like you float off the ground a bit and just become basically, if Paul Bearer was dressed as a leather daddy, first of all, get that image in your mind,
Nope,
and then
I
also
refuse.
give him supernatural powers, actual supernatural powers.
Oh yeah, I think Jeff missed our
That happened.
montage, but I'm basically garden gnome mixed with leather daddy is Copernicus' outfit for tonight.
I hate it.
Yep.
I hate it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, they made the mistake of suiting up at the sex cult dungeon.
Whoa. I
mean,
take
mis-
issue with mistake.
For certain values of mistake.
Made the guaranteed success of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, we cannot forget, we've been heavily advertising and promoting this event.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a slut squad of like various D&D cuties who are there specifically to be party girls.
You can
sporting
like
Ugna merch.
you elbow Pudenza to remind her, and she'll like snap her fingers.
Yeah.
And like the various people that she had brought here to sort of decorate the hall will squat up behind you. So it's not so much like you've got like he's got the barrel of beef, the circle of muscle forming behind him, of like threatening loxodons towering over everyone but Ugna. You've got like the rabid little supernatural energy bomb, and then the wall of
the beauties of the North.
Yeah, the wall of
whose honor I must defend.
Sex.
They're wearing like green slutty dresses that have like a decoration on them that, after looking at for a little bit, when you look past the boobs, is like Ugna's tusks.
Oh, good.
And they have like little crowns to to mirror
there is so Sir Godfrey came up with a whole line of Ugna merch.
Yeah, right.
Last time you guys were in Ravenfall, and
Yep.
he's been here selling you guys already have like all of like Ugna patches,
It's
like with the
orc
Godfrey's
skull
branding.
with the tusks, and then the crossbones like a pirate's thing, but the bones are snapped.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
my logo.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful. And like
Yep.
and like a hammer underneath.
Yep.
or a hammer crossed with an axe or
Right.
something.
So he serves me the insult as all the beauties of the north come in behind me and do like a
Yep.
and I will build to the big moment and be like, I'll see you in the ring, and you'll see the real strength of the North. Whew! And then I flex, and the black dress with bone sort of ribs on the outside and a spine down the back, I will flex hard enough to crack all that away like it was designed to do. Revealing the like bustier singlet underneath with my full branding on it. Like I was wearing my
Nice.
wrestling singlet underneath.
With like the D&D version of the web link on the back to like
Yep.
Sir Godfrey's
Yes. In fact, a cape,
store.
a cape from the top unrolls as the dress over top
Yeah.
snaps off, and it's got like
Big-
the web link QR code.
Yeah.
No, there was no room under the skin
No,
tight like
that's true.
pleather dress, but like as you burst out of it, like there's a whoosh of one of Lady Pudenza's minions like goes by you, and suddenly you've got the cape on in the
Yeah.
back as they
Good.
throw the extra
Oh,
stage hands,
I'm
throw
gonna
the
James
extra
Brown it. I'm
accoutrement.
gonna James Brown that where it's like, oh, I've hulked out, and they pull the thing on me, and I calm down for a second, and then I'm back. Throw the cape off. Flex some more.
There's just like a bunch
And,
of pamphlets that flutter away with the cape.
Yes.
a bunch of you didn't plan that. It's somehow
No.
Sir Godfrey like worked
Yeah.
a bunch of his
Mhm.
literature into the
It's fine.
his birth.
I make it work.
Sir Godfrey's I forget what the name of the actual store is, but the Walmart. That's
Tusk's
right.
Cranny, I think, is the name of the actual store.
Yeah. It's
And yeah, they
clearly Sir Godfrey's oddly wobbly tchotchke.
that's the tag thing. Like
Yeah.
that's the jingle. That's not the name of the store.
Yeah, because
Buddy.
jingles are designed to be memorable so that people remember all the words in them.
Buddy, you're pushing buttons now. Sorry, the boys
Are
are
you-
playing with my mouse, and they are like making the mouse go across the screen and push things.
Very
Oh, no.
helpful.
That is not a good thing for them to learn how to do.
No.
So yeah, so this all happens. This is obviously, Kangar knows his stuff. So
Yeah.
he looks like he's gonna come in more, and like Captain Ulf and another one of the larger
Hold him back.
Loxagons kind of like give him a little like a and then some of his posse are doing the sort of like but they all kind of like step back away, like and
Yeah.
he does like a dismissive laugh of like, oh, see you tomorrow, puny northern scum. And they all
I'll
sort of like
rally the crowd with, let's hear it for the North! Ah!
excellent.
And I'm sure that it's
That's-
noble, so there's like polite clapping.
And all the girls there that are normally cage dancers will like start encouraging people to drink more at that moment. And be like, yeah, shot.
Good.
And then right after that, there's a commotion
Oh.
by the entrance. As you see a pair of legs like rise above the crowd, followed by a butt in like polka dot underwear, followed by from the waist up, but hanging down, is like a black robe that's been like pulled up over the rest of a person and tied in a knot. And Copernicus, you recognize that outfit is the assassin's robe
Ooh.
of the invisible assassin, who is very distinctly not invisible right now, who is like literally floating into the air, levitating upwards, butt first. He's got like, just because obviously he's got like little ninja tabi on his feet, but then they go into like stocking garters, and then he's got like hairy legs, and then like polka dot boxers.
Is the portion
that's
of his tunic that is being pulled over exposing a print on the underside of his shirt that makes a little like set of ninja eyes over his head?
No, unfortunately, but yeah, he's
He
basically
didn't plan for this.
if he wasn't wearing that particular underwear underneath, it has been transformed into that by the pixie magic. But in any case, yes, he has had his robe pulled up over his head and tied, and then he's now floating upside down off the ground. And
Bernie
you
will
can
call out,
clearly
"Oh
see.
no, an Assassin's Guild member! How embarrassing for the whole guild!" Just tired of them fucking with us.
Good.
And there is, in fact, a swarm of drunken pixies, quite clearly visible now as they hold. Or no, sorry, they stay invisible. That's right. They're pixies. They don't have to break their invisibility.
Yeah, is like pantsing someone an attack roll? Because that would break non-true invisibility.
Yeah,
It's
but
a very important mechanical question.
Yeah, it's not an invisibility spell though. It's a natural invisibility ability for these pixies. For this kind of pixie, anyway. The type of fey creature I am using here, which is not like a straight out of the book
deranged
one.
pixie.
Yep. Well, the deranged part just means that they're kind of losing it. And there's like a gasp and sort of like general shock. Like a lot of the nobles like shriek, right? Like seeing a member of the Assassin's Guild for a member of like the common folk in the city, they might not even recognize that. Just be like, oh, that guy's weirdly in black robes. But being a noble and seeing a member of the Assassin's Guild is probably got more. You imagine there's like a Game of Thrones thing generally going on with the nobility that like the common folk are like, what now? Whatever, who cares? One of them died. Ooh, who gives a shit?
And this particular member was brought here by the Scullys, we believe, because he was seen talking to Robin Scully. Correct?
He was whispering with Robin Scully.
All right, I think I'll put some sauce on Perny's. So surprised to see them. And he'll add, I wonder if any more assassins are skulking around. And have a little slip of the tongue, just to plant a little something in people's minds.
Insight roll to see who was surprised or not.
Very good. You
question.
Have your super insight. Use your
like
super
it.
insight. So Morgan has the feat
Natural
empathetic.
20.
Ooh.
Me.
Good time
Document that.
for
You
it.
nat 20'd the insight? Oh my god.
I did.
Okay.
I'm gonna
crap.
post it in the chat.
Woo.
We love to see it.
Okay, that is a big deal.
In the
So
Discord.
what that means is they have to roll a nat 20 on the deception roll to not give that information.
Nice.
I rolled extremely well, but I didn't roll a nat 20. I rolled a 19,
Oh my goodness.
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I rolled a 19.
You got that luck going on today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you having done all this, and now that the attention is very much on like Ugna, who's even less dressed now than previously, and the Loxodons, who are like, it's funny because like as soon as this all kind of dies down, the Loxodon merchants break away from the Loxodon party and just go back to having like casual business chats, like everyone's sort of and everyone's just mingling again. But all the attention is really very much directed at Kangar and his party and Ugna. And you have a good moment here to kind of break away from the rest of the Slut Squad and kind of like cast a probing eye across the room.
Fuck up my party. I worked very hard for this.
And so you're going to notice a few things. First of all, you will notice, like, obviously a bunch of the nobles are like getting away from the assassin. You notice that guards from the entrance hallway burst in and are like trying to grab at this guy. And their motives seem like, obviously they're like, oh crap, an intruder. This is a breach of security and it's a big deal and we better do something about it. But you notice that you spot Robin Scully, and he has a sour face. You can tell he clearly has been thwarted in some way here.
Mhm.
You also notice a few of the nobles kind of giving each other knowing looks, like they are not as surprised by this turn of events as you would expect them to be. In particular, Phoenix Langarian, the cousin of the Baron, and the twins, Zook and Zaya Greytower.
God damn it.
Who, yeah, you forgot that, didn't you?
God damn it.
Zook and Zaya Greytower, who are also, of course, rumored to be members of the Raven cult.
Mhm.
You also notice no surprise whatsoever on the face of Eliphas Darkmoor.
Of course.
Whether he was involved in some way or he just knew that the assassin was there, you don't know. But he is a pretty magically knowledgeable guy, magically capable guy. And I'd also like a perception check from you, perception or investigation, whichever's better. And Copernicus,
My
I'll give you one as
God.
well. Oh my God! Did you just like nat 20 again?
Yes.
Holy
What the-
smokes.
Woohoo!
Bend
You'd
in
love
real
to
life
see
luck.
it.
Damn.
That's
Uh,
funny.
What?
Why?
All right,
I'm gonna take a picture.
all right.
We got
Holy
moly.
pixies helping us in real life.
Yeah.
And I'd also like a perception roll from Fetid. Let's see if we
Okay.
get 3 for 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna get like a 3-1.
Roll
Close. An 18 plus perception. That's a 25.
I rolled just to see what my
Wow.
luck is. I
Damn.
got 4.
Yes,
Well done.
It's okay.
you can't
Look it
see
up on
anything but your own
practice
tits.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? What's going on? The
Currently-
Buskie's just got them like right here. You can't even see
Currently
them.
trying to like get her mug close enough to her face,
Yeah,
but
I
not like
gotta-
spill it.
Yeah,
I'm
you're like,
gonna reach around.
yeah, you're trying to figure out how to eat
Yeah.
and drink and shake hands while you're like, you're in this
Breathy
outfit.
boobily.
Okay, so all right then. This is a perfect. I'm
Oof.
gonna set the stage and then we'll go to break. So, item number 1, you'd already noticed that Glorpa is nowhere to be seen. Seems to be gone. The shambling mound is off in a corner with the druid, and they're making out. You think? I don't know. It's possible that he's eating her. You can't tell.
Yeah.
It's a shambling mound. You don't know how that works. You don't want to know.
Absolutely.
There is
only
no
reason-
sign. There is no sign in this room of Tromlin or Webby or his siblings,
Ooh.
That's weird.
Ooh.
the Voltrees.
Not sure how I feel about that.
Somebody's murdering somebody, and I don't know which way it's going.
Yeah.
Copernicus, you notice that the little tiny black vial that was kind of hidden in the jewelry on the wrist of Phoenix Langarian is empty. It's no longer black. It's kind of just clear now.
Okay.
Um,
Nobody drink anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna send out a Perninet. Nobody drink anything. Tromlin, can you tell us where you are?
you all, let me finish setting the stage first.
Okay.
Morgan, you also notice your reflection in one of the silver trays passing with one of the servants. Your reflection frantically trying to get your attention and miming like this.
Oh shit. Okay.
Hit the deck.
Mhm.
You also notice the drunken pixies that are you of course can see that there are, or vaguely sort of see shapes in various reflections of the pixies that are like holding this assassin off the ground, who's now got various guards like jumping and trying to like grab a hold of him and pull him back down. And there's like a tug of war beginning between the guards and the pixies, who are just thinking this is great. This is a hilarious game now. But you also notice that many of the other pixies, the servants around the edges of the room, the illusions are kind of like flickering and looking a little like worse for wear, as the pixies that they were disguising have left and are starting to form this like swirling cloud of drunken, crazy fake creatures, which of course you can see, Copernicus, through the Gem of Seeing. You can kind of get the general sense of Raven through like reflections and your fake connection, like something's cooking.
Yeah.
All right.
And then lastly, Copernicus, you notice a thin smile on the face of Eliphas Darkmoor, who looks directly at you when you're kind of peering around. He catches your eye, and his thin smile turns into a savage grin.
I don't like that.
And Fetid, you notice out in the hills nearby, some firelights flicker into being, like the mass lighting of some torches, and you see 3 enormous shapes crest the hill just down the road from the gates of the city. These shapes are like, they're like wagons, but like much taller, festooned with like bones and ropes and tied wood, like some sort of strange war machines. They're on enormous treads, and they have these scoop-like scrapers of bone in the front of them, and
Super
parts
don't
of
like
them
that.
seem to be made of flesh, and they have like the bones are like animated as they move, and there's bits and gobbets of flesh and blood coming off of them, and they are
Even Copernicus is like, that's a bit much.
they're
Yeah.
mounted
Got a little far with
above.
this.
Okay, Warhammer
Um,
40K.
I know what pun is coming, and I'm terrified.
Yes. They are in fact zombonis.
Zombonis.
Oh God.
no.
And you can see the flash of ice appearing out of nowhere, coming down the hill towards the gates, and you see many dark shapes darting out of the and you see all of that before everybody hears, as I announced at the end of the last game, the call over the hills, the battle cry of "Ulukukukukuku, ulukukukukuku," and we'll go to break with that, and you can see the leaders of this horde coming down over the hills, dressed with like very heavily bundled with like big pom-pom toques flopping on top of their heads, big mitts, and they're like crazy bladed sticks that they fight with.
Are they all from Canmore?
Oh no, this pair is the pair that leads this group are Bob and Dog. Of the clan Mackenzie. Anyway.
Yeah.
And
Great. Good.
that's a good time to go to break.
This is for Canadians over 30.
Yes. We
All
can
right.
find a picture of Bob and Doug Mackenzie.
The rest of you can Google that while we're on break.
Yeah.
See you in 10.